everybody. Nice to see everybody's faces again. I am Denise Smith of Our Mettaverse. Metta in this instance is spelled with 2 T's and means loving kindness in the compassion world. It is the intention of the community of Our Mettaverse to bring people together in the intention of sharing loving kindness with each other, of holding each other in loving kindness, and in inviting our whole being into this gathering together, which means all parts of us. A lot of times we like to, say that, oh, this, hi, I'm Denise and I'm always happy, and that's what you get. And in this community, we're inviting the whole being to be here because we're not always happy. And the more that we avoid these other parts of us, the more they can cause us to say or do things that we might not choose or wish to actually do or say. So when we befriend things like emotions that are hard and we bring them close to us, they become familiar. And, just like the ski run we've never been down that's not familiar, we could tell ourselves all kinds of scary stories about it. And then we can go look at the ski run and realize it's different than what we have been thinking. Or the whatever other example we might want to use in our head when it's unfamiliar to us. Sometimes the stories that we imagine about it are more scary than if we were actually right there in it. And so as we can practice, we invite these emotions to become a little bit closer to us and a little bit more familiar so that they're not so scary. And so that we know we're not alone in them. We're going to talk tonight a little bit how it's virtually impossible that nobody else in the world feels what we feel. Okay, we're going to get to that a little bit later, but we're not alone. We're not alone in having our feelings, and many of our feelings that we feel are just like, whoa, I can't tell anybody out that one, are actually common in every single one of us. So that's what we're going to try to do as we are together. Tonight, we're going to do a practice that's called Tonglen. It's a beautiful, magical practice of giving and taking that is opposite to what we would normally think that we would do instinctually, or that I learned in any way, and most of my friends have learned the same way. As we normally do, I would like to offer out some serious gratitude. You don't even know how cool it is for me to go, I think I want to do this thing, and for people to come. And so I so appreciate you coming and sharing with me and being here. And I'm so grateful for you. Thank you very, very much. I would like to, I'm trying to wonder if we should do check-ins and then set our intention, or do our intention and then check-in. So maybe we'll do intention first tonight. And what I'd like to offer that we do is just kind of get ourselves settled, take a deep breath for where we are right now, maybe even close our eyes, and just set an intention of why did you choose to be here tonight? Why did you come? And now intention is the I will, and motivation is the so that. And so I'm going to offer you to consider your I will be here to blank so that, and fill those in. And I'm going to invite you to look at both of those in a way that is for yourself and then another way that is also altruistic for others. So I'm coming here, and I'm going to be here right now. I'm going to share this time with somebody else with the motivation to, and then you fill this in your own mind, something for yourself and something for others. And when you're ready, just kind of come back and look into the screen so that we'll know that you've gotten there. And I'd like to invite us to we're going to do quick check-ins tonight. I think we'll do 45 seconds, 30-second check-ins tonight. And check-ins are where we share what's on our back right now, what's following us, what's getting in the way of us being 100% present in this moment right here with each other. And to get us to feel that a little bit, I'm going to get a little closer up to the screen. I'm going to invite you to just either imagine Simone and Sandro and look and like really recognize that we're here together. And we're with each other. Right? My little Gracie Gray roots. I tried a new shampoo today. Not going to be using that one tomorrow. Anyway, just we're here, right? We're together. And then also just be aware that, wow, okay, I'm with others right now. And this other thing is still just kind of thinking. I'm thinking a little bit. Something else is still on my mind. And if anybody would like to share their check-in, I'll do a little like this when 45 seconds is up. And we'll just do a fast check-in. Oh, okay, there goes my little bubble thing. Good. We'll use it finally instead of just going off for no reason. Would anybody like to check in first?
I can go.
Sure.
Yes, so I feel pretty good today. My family just arrived last night from California, and it's nice to have them here. So it's feeling, more like the holidays, and we're starting to get ready for all of that. But and I feel like I've really been concentrating and intending on like just kind of surrendering. That's one thing I do over and over again, surrendering my need to try to control things and try to make them the way I want them to be and make people the way I want them to be and do what I want them to do. So I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that, especially as moms and wives and all the things that we do. There's certain things that we try to control. Sometimes it's just so that we feel safe, or so that we feel like we're doing a good job, or so that you know what I mean, just whatever. But I've been really, really with a lot of intention trying to just let people be, like, just it's a very difficult thing to do, to let people be who they are and meet them where they're at in their life right now, in their moment, in their thing. You know what I mean? And the more I can do that, the more I can relax and the more they feel accepted. And so it's just a practice that I'm working on, but it's just a constant practice of just really trying to let people be, just and it's not easy, I'm sure, but it is working. It's starting to make me more calm, and my nervous system is calm because I'm realizing that I'm not in control of them and I don't need to be. In fact, it actually makes things worse when I try to control other people. So but that's where I'm at today, feeling a little more relaxed about just not having to control everything, not having all that on my back. It's not mine to carry. It's not really, let everybody do their thing. So that's kind of my focus. And hopefully, I don't know if it'll last every day, but I'm going to try to keep revisiting it and re-surrendering and just keep doing that until it becomes more natural for me to just not need to do that. So yeah, that's where I'm at today.
Thank you, Ante. Would anybody else like to check in?
I'll check in.
Hey, hi, Lynn.
I had a fabulous day. Sadly, so I got my COVID shot last night and I wasn't terribly sick, but not feeling great. And I stayed home today and it was such a lovely day. It was quiet. I got so much work done. I didn't have a lot of distractions. I didn't have, 5 million questions coming at me. And so it was I think what I realized after today is I need to do that not only when I'm sick, as have those days where it's just quiet and focused and, you know, not so much input and stimulus and, rat racing kind of thing. So although I'm not feeling great, physically, I actually feel really good. Like my nervous system is had a good day in that way.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to share a check-in today? I went to Reef school today. I love going to his school. It's so fun. And I was handing out my hearts, and Reef was on the live announcements in the television to the whole school this morning. And I incentivized him to tell everybody that his mom thought they were important. And he did it in front of the whole school. So I went in and I'm like, did you get a little message from me today on GMS TV? They're like, yeah, we heard it. So it was kind of fun. And then I was talking with this group of girls. There was like 20 girls, and they got in a fight as I was talking to them. So I had to take two of them aside and talk with them a little bit. And then one decided to curse at me. And so I said, you and I are going to need to spend a little special time together. And I took her aside, and the way I was raised wanted to come out. And then what I've learned had a louder voice, and I was very happy that the louder voice came out. And the louder voice allowed me to remind her that she's going to call me by my first name, as I am calling her her first name, because we're so much alike, and that neither one of us was better, and that we all do things that we're not happy with, but they stay with us, and there's so much more beauty inside of us. And she was just looking at me and she says, why are you so nice to everybody? Right? I didn't tell her because I only come once a week for an hour, but it was like a lot easier than that. But I just said, because I just believe that there is a light inside of every single one of us, no matter who we are, that is so bright and so wonderful that I want to help everybody know that, and I want to see it, and I want to help them let it shine. And she started crying, and she said, I've only cried 3 times with my own mom. And it was just this really special interaction that she and I had for 15 minutes. And we ended up, I was actually driving someplace after school, and I saw her, and I was like, love you, Nadia. And she's like, what? It ended up being this really beautiful transaction afterwards, where we did what we're going to do tonight, which is taking in negativity and filtering it and giving out positivity. That's what this Tonglen is. And I was thinking about this today, because when I get like a little overwhelmed, and when I was first starting to meditate, I would do the breathe in the good, breathe out the bad, get rid of it, I have this ritual every year on my birthday where I pretend that all the bad stuff is on some piece of paper, and I take it like this and I throw it into the ocean, and I don't have it ever come back, you know. And Tonglen is the opposite of that action. And so it's going to be really kind of interesting tonight. If you guys want a slideshow, I have 2/3 of a slideshow made, and it's not beautiful yet, but I can go for the visual learners. If you guys want to look at what I'm looking at the same time, I can share my screen with that. So that's what Tonglen means. Tong is giving and Len is taking. And it's in the methodology and the practice of it, there's many different ways to practice it, but it's awakening compassion inside of us in a way that turns our pain into the pain. So instead of us personalizing the pain, and I'm purposely using the word pain, not suffering, and we will get to that in time. Pain is my finger hurts. Suffering is the whole story around it. Okay, so I'm referring to pain. So awakening the compassion inside of us in a way that turns our pain into the pain we all suffer, the pain that every one of us goes through or feels at times. And then with Tonglen, we become this filter that turns this heaviness and this darkness, and with visualization, we filter that darkness into something light, and then we give it out to the world. Using a visual of the biggest heart that we could ever imagine, even if we become like this, you know, our body might be a toothpick and the heart is as big as the whole room, and our body as the toothpick is holding that heart, however we want to visualize it. We have a heart that's big enough to absorb the darkness of another, and we're going to start with one other. We're going to, so I see my dog, and my dog has a foot that hurts. And so may I take on his pain. That's what I mean by one other, the dog, and pain, his foot pain. May I take that on? Does that make sense? Anytime you guys have questions, please ask. Okay. So Pema Chodron, if you ever want to look up this more, she has some really good books on this, and she has some videos on YouTube. She's a wonderful, easy read, and she teaches Tonglen with the visual of this giant heart, and that we take in somebody else's pain, and we still have plenty of room left in our heart, and so we can take that on without it overwhelming us. And then we offer out the relief. Tenzin Chogi is a wonderful teacher out of Santa Cruz. And she uses this visual, she's the one I learned it from first, of us taking in like a negativity of somebody else and imagining that negativity as like a black, heavy darkness. Actually, Pema Chodron uses heavy and dark also, and sharpness and discomfort. And we take it on and we bring it inside of us, and it's a candle that's inside of us. And the fuel of that candle, which makes our light shine, is that darkness. Does that make sense? I'm going to pull in somebody's darkness and I'm going to make it fuel my own candle. And when I do that, that allows me to give out kindness and love and anything wonderful to somebody else. But I have to always be wanting to take their suffering away in order for me to be able to shine. Do you have any questions about that idea? So this visual can be your own. You can, I don't know what, come up with something that to you says, wow, a filter of something negative. Maybe it's a charcoal filter like in a water filter, right? However works for you. May I be this filter that can take on somebody else's heavy darkness and have it actually fuel the light inside of me that I can give out to another. Okay? There are 3 main steps as we develop Tonglen. Now, when I say develop, you know, when we're first starting to take on an idea like converting, breathe in the good and breathe out the bad, to breathe in the bad and breathe out the good, we have to do it step by step. We have to go, I'm just getting my head around the idea that you could make that switch. I still don't understand the intention behind it. So I'm open-minded here, but I'm not ready to go full on, right? Then we just become open-minded to it and we take it as we can. There's no, oh, I've practiced this for an hour, I should be able to blah, blah, blah. No. This is just, here's an idea. It's an idea. It's out there. Am I open to it, or is it a total shutdown for me? I'm not. I just feels funny. I don't want to do it. And we listen to ourselves and we allow that difference, okay? So the first thought when we're thinking something that isn't positive, I'm sad. For some reason, our human mind has the instinct to say, and I'm the only person in the whole wide world who feels like this, right? My eye hurt my toe, and I'm the only person out of 8 billion people that has a toe like this hurt. And the mind, that's called an isolation. We're isolating ourselves with that story. So when we say other people feel this, that allows us to go out of the isolation and bring us closer and more familiar to humanity, to others. I'm feeling sad, and it is a natural emotion for every one of the 8 billion people to feel. And it just took this singular, super strong event and diffused it into 8 billion parts. It's just not so big when we look at it that way. So we try to be a little bit more reasonable in the fact that we are not the only person with sadness. We're not the only person with a sore toe that got hurt this way. So just to follow our notes here, we offer ourselves a mindful thought that takes away the traumatic part of any emotion. So in the study of trauma, it's my working definition at this point that trauma is an overwhelming feeling that we experience that we have no one to share that feeling with. So we experience it on our own. And that isolation in that big feeling is a definition of trauma. So we try to untraumatize ourselves by feeling a little sadness in a group of 8. Feeling a little sadness and knowing we share that with 8 billion other people. And we bring ourselves out of the isolation and we feel together, which allows us to begin to heal together. Because part of what keeps us sick is feeling like we're the only one that's feeling what we're feeling. Do you have any questions? when we suffer, we tend to feel like we're the only ones feeling that. We're wrong. Think about it. Okay. And then we remind ourselves by saying other people feel this. We bring ourselves close to them. We bring them close to us. Okay. Let me make sure I got these. This also helps to refocus what's called the self-cherishing mind. Okay. Self-cherishing involves prioritizing our own well-being and desires above others. Not equal to others, but ours as more important than others. And it leads to attachment, it leads to selfishness, and it leads to suffering, which is why the self-care movement has to be really balanced, because we can get stuck in self-care and we can forget that intention or motivation to come together with others. We can forget that we care about them also when we come together. Does that make sense? So out of all the classes I've ever taken, and literally hundreds of books by many different authors, too much concern with self is always the cause of most suffering. It's not what we are used to hearing. It's not what we're used to knowing. We're more like, it's me, it's my place. I have to take care of me before I take care of anybody else. I'm not there yet, So we're going to open our mind to the idea that maybe it's not, I have to take care of me first. My opinion is that simultaneously, equal, equanimity, we take care of ourselves with others and others. We never leave ourselves out of the picture, but we never put ourselves or others higher or lower than each other. Okay. And now I'm going to invite you to do what I learned from Lama Yeshe, who has passed away in the 80s, but has fantastic lessons online. And he says, don't believe me just because I'm telling you it. Check it. Check when you put somebody else's needs with yours simultaneously. Does it cause less yucky feelings? When you say, I just need to take care of me right now, does it actually cause a better feeling than taking care of somebody else at the same time? Just play with that, okay? Check that for your own self. Check it, he always says. In Mahayana Buddhism, which is the one that I study the most, and my understanding, Mahayana means great vehicle. And it means, may we be concerned with ourself and all other sentient beings without exception. There are types of Buddhism that work on your mind and work on yourself, and they don't focus on and all other beings. I choose to focus most or resonate. I feel like I resonate most at this point in my life with Mahayana, because I feel like if I'm in a room with people like you and I'm here only caring about me and I don't care what happens to you, I'm actually harming you by not caring about you also. And so I feel like caring about all people simultaneously and equal makes the most sense to my logical mind. I'm going to go to the second point here. Like metta, which means loving kindness, you know that, but with a stronger motivation, which is us to take on somebody else's pain. Tonglen is like metta. We offer that we take on the suffering of another and that they be free from suffering. But we do it with a stronger motivation than just metta, which is may that person be free from suffering. This is this added, may I take on something to cause relief to the other. See if we have any questions at this point, and then I'm going to do a short something that I've shared a little bit. We'll do a little exercise around it with what I would call an easy Tonglen. Does anybody have any questions, or did I confuse anybody with something yet? Okay, so I learned Tonglen when Reef was in about 1st or 2nd grade. Reef is my son. And he said to me, Mama, I get tummy aches every day at school. And I was like, oh God, I don't want him having tummy aches. And what did I know to offer him? I didn't know. Like, should we change your diet? Should we do this? Should we do that? Right? And a lot of compassion training, and they call this mind training, which freaked me out in the beginning. I'm like, that's too close to mind washing for me to be comfortable with that phrase. The good news is mind training is here's an idea, you go check it. You see if it works for you. If it doesn't, reject it and get it out of everything in your life. And if it does work, consider developing it a little bit. So you are developing your mind. You are training your mind, not somebody else. Okay. So in this Tonglen, I had learned, oh, you take the suffering of others and you give peace out to somebody else. And so I said, Reefy, I want to offer to you an exercise that I learned. And he, what, Mama? I said, when you feel that tummy ache and you have to go to the bathroom or whatever it is, I want you to just breathe in and say, oh, may all people with tummy aches be free from suffering. May all people with tummy aches be free from suffering. May all people with tummy aches be free from suffering. And then just let me know what it does. And so he went to school, and a little while later, he got a tummy ache, and he came home and he said, Mama, I got a tummy ache today, and I did that thing that you told me to do. My tummy ache totally went away. And I had to tell you, I was just as like shocked as he was, right? It did, right on. And to me, you know, if when I stub my toe or when I'm sad, I feel like, oh no, it's only me, and it's so deep and it's so isolating, that when I say, may all other people who have a tummy ache, I took myself out of the isolation, which took off half of the pain. Sorry about that. And then I wished them well, which is generosity, which is the second step of this Tonglen. It's giving. So I want to take on their pain and I want to give them peace. I want to ask you, can you think of anything from today alone where you watched something happen and you could imagine, wow, may I take on this animal, this person's pain, and may they feel better? Is there anything that you heard of in the news, you experienced in a park, you know, whatever, it's sometime in your life today, could there have been a place to just say, all right, black, dark heaviness, come on and fuel this candle inside of me. And whoo, all right, I feel the light. I feel, okay, everybody, I wish you well. Right? Or one being who I was focusing on taking in their darkness, may I wish them well. Okay. So I don't have it written, but the stage one is other people are feeling this too. Stage 2, when we get a little bit braver, is may I take on their suffering and may they be free from suffering. And the computer just did what I asked. I was like, took away our suffering with balloons. And stage 3 of Tonglen, when we get very brave with it, is like I was saying with Refi, may all people in the entire universe, may all animals, may all beings with a tummy ache, may I take on their pain so that they do not have a tummy ache. And may they be free from suffering. So that level of compassion is called great compassion. We can have compassion for one. We can have compassion for all without exception. And that's called great compassion. And supposedly when we get really good at great compassion, we get really close to enlightenment. The way I look at the word enlightenment, or try to translate the word enlightenment, is that the emotions that feel, this is as of today, right? As in my ignorance that I'm still just trying to develop myself, as we feel the weight of something else and we learn how to handle it so that it's not just, oh, it's so deep and so heavy on me, but we can now start the pain outside of me. Others also experience it. May they feel okay. May all people, it takes this heaviness off of us. And the better we get at it at each emotion, the lighter we get. That's kind of a visual way that I look at enlightenment. Okay. So I found a video that I think is really nice Tonglen meditation. And I'd like to share the video with us and to do the meditation that this other person from Fit Mind on YouTube leads us through. It's going to be a little bit less than 8 minutes. And so please go to the bathroom, grab a drink, stretch out, do what you need to do. We're going to try to be prepared to do Tonglen. Settling is really important first. It's just getting ourselves into a position where we're not focusing on all this stuff that's distracting us from being present right now, right? Just trying to really arrive into this moment. Maybe I'll do a quick body scan when we're ready. So I'm going to press pause for just a second so we can all take a moment there. So welcome back. Thank you. I'll do kind of a settling body scan for us to help us get to a place where we're in this moment. And then I'm going to let this, I'll roll this other Tonglen meditation and do it right along with you, okay? So with your spine as straight as possible and your feet flat on the floor, if you're not in some type of cross-legged position or lotus position, they call it. You may lay down, you may stand up. You get to be the person who's developing you, right? What I like to just focus on is that our spine stays as straight as possible, because there's a nerve that feeds the rest of our body that goes from our sits bones up to our crown. I guess it's called the vagus nerve, and I'm not the expert on that, but to keep that feeding all the nerves in our body so that our nervous system can feel what we are practicing. So we'll come into this moment with a couple of big breaths, maybe 3 of them. And on this, I'm going to invite you not to think. You're just focusing on breath only. You can pick a place where you're having it come into your nose, maybe, and out your nose. Just see if you can create some relaxation and spaciousness in your body. And see if you can be aware of how it makes your body feel when you start to intentionally slow down and create that space. And then we'll just imagine at the crown of our head that we are relaxed, and we're present, and we're here, and that our forehead, that our eyes, our nose, our mouth and jaw, our whole head is here and relaxed. If we feel any type of tension someplace, let it be what it is, and you might offer that specific place a breath. Maybe your neck feels a little stiff, and just offer your neck a breath. And your shoulders, maybe they can, Tara Brock likes to say, and I like it also, that your shoulders are, imagine they're going from ice, melting into water, and relaxing into a light gas even. And then feel down the tops of your arms to your elbows, and your elbows to your wrists. Continuing to breathe. To your hands. Feel all the sensations going on in your hands. And come back up to your neck area and slowly follow down your spine like you're water trickling on a little rain gauge outside, making a little music as you go down your spine gently, down to your sits bones. Still breathing. Feel some space in your hip area and your pelvis. And then your upper legs, down to your knees. As you start to really relax, keep your mind paying attention while your body is relaxing. And from your knees, feel down to your ankles. And then your ankles into your whole foot. Whatever you might be touching, allow that to give you some groundedness, some feeling of stillness and support. And as Jack Kornfield likes to say, know that the gravity that is pulling you right now is just this perfect amount of force that says, I want you here, exactly where you are. Take a couple breaths into that, and I'll share my screen, and you can stay in meditative pose, or you can listen to the screen as we do this. I'm going to try to put just that screen on. And then we'll follow along this meditation. Please let me know if you can hear it.
So first, let's briefly walk through how to do Tonglen meditation.
Can you hear it?
As taught by masters.
We just close our eyes and just follow.
And then we'll end with a guided Tonglen meditation for you to practice the technique.
If you need something, let me know.
It's been practiced for thousands of years and can retrain the mind to make you a better person, which will also make you and those around you happier. And so it's really a win-win. And then after going through the technique and going through a guided version of this meditation, I'll also give a tip at the end for taking this method to the next level. So there's really two steps in this method. So Tong means giving, and Len means receiving. So known as replacing self with other. The first step is when you breathe in, you're taking in the suffering of others. So picture some area of the world that's dear to your heart and needs help. This could be those undergoing cancer treatment, children whose parents have abandoned them, mistreated animals, or some other group that's suffering unjustly, means something to you. You can do this for a single individual too, or a large group, either for all of humanity or even all beings, will probably be easiest if you start with a group or person that you already feel some compassion for. So you're breathing in with the intention that you can take all of their suffering away as it comes out from them and then kind of melts in the compassion of their heart. This can be difficult and heavy because unlike metta, loving kindness meditation, you're actually taking in suffering. But imagine you're alleviating suffering by bringing it in with the inhale and melting it. And then, so step 2 is to exhale and breathe out with compassion. You might imagine that your exhale is sending out smiles to that individual or group. If it's starving children, then your exhale might be sending out the food and safety they need. So you've inhaled away the suffering, and now you're exhaling out, sending your good vibes. And it's important to recognize the difference here between compassion and its close but dangerous neighbor, which is pity. So you're not pitying anyone, you're feeling, wishing that they might be happy. You might even repeat, may that person or those people be free from suffering. May their suffering finally cease. You cultivate these strong feelings and either stick with whatever group or individual you've chosen, or pick another one that can use your well wishes. So again, in Tonglen, you're inhaling suffering and then sending out compassion. So you'll be breathing in deeply through the nostrils, exhaling deeply through the nostrils. It seems ridiculous to breathe in suffering, breathe out joy. Just think how this is reconditioning your psychology in a positive way. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche writes in Training the Mind, Cultivating Kindness, that part of the purpose of Tonglen is to develop the psychological attitude of exchanging oneself for others. So through this practice, you're becoming more caring, wise, and virtuous, and less self-absorbed. Let's take just a couple minutes now to practice this method so you can get the hang of it. I'll give some pointers at the end. So just finding a comfortable position in your chair, meditation seat, whoever's comfortable, and calling to mind a group or person you'd like to feel compassion toward. Now, you've got that person or group in mind. You begin to inhale. You're alleviating their suffering, drawing it away from them, melting it in your heart. Pause subtly before the exhale, switching gears now. You're sending out good vibes to that person. Again, inhaling your suffering, sending out your well wishes, sending out the cure with your exhale. This way can help to have long inhales, long exhales, and a brief pause in between when you shift gears. You're having trouble cultivating that compassion or mental image, might imagine that you're putting a smile on that person's face. Might imagine their relief as you relieve their suffering, their joy. You send your good vibes with the exhale. Making them happy. Notice that makes you happy too. And we'll slowly transition out of this brief meditation. You've got a taste for the power of Tonglen. Now, the key here is this really is one of those methods that you can fake it till you make it. So even if you couldn't really generate as much compassion as you would have liked, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's actually a product of two things. First is that you may not be used to doing this, and so you can just continue to almost intend to feel that emotion until it becomes real for you, which it will. And the second is it really does require concentration. So that's my tip, is that in order to go really deep in this meditation, it requires some training of attention so that you can more easily call to mind that image of relieving the suffering, sending your compassion.
Take just a minute to Would anybody like to share what that felt like for them? I can start, you know, when I get ready for these classes, I have to practice what we're doing. And so this week I've been practicing Tonglen, and then today I practiced quite a bit of Tonglen. And now when I went through this with him, it was all I could do to not just start tearing up. And I didn't pick just one person. I picked, like, may this person who's feeling physical pain be free from suffering. May I take in their suffering and offer them to not feel that anymore. And then I wanted to jump over to places where there are wars going on, and that just got heavy when I was breathing in the black smoke of that. And then may the light, the giant light, right? It's like, gosh, that one's a really energetic one. May that light just get to these people as fast as possible, so that even if they think they have a job to do, they can know they have a choice still somehow, right? And I just started going around, and then it was like, whew. And it always relieves me a little bit to know that somebody somewhere is probably offering Tonglen for anything that I'm going through. So it feels kind of nice to feel like I'm a receiver of what somebody might be offering out also. Would anybody else like to share what that felt like for them?
I think it's going to take a lot of practice for me, because I've kind of been told my whole life that, or not my whole life, but that I'm very empathic and I take on other people's feelings, and learning how to not do that, you know, how to like not take on other people's feelings. So this is like a, do you understand what
I do.
saying? Like, so I've worked with people to learn how to like separate my, you know, not take it in to me because it's their feelings, and that isn't sometimes healthy for me. So this is kind of a shift. I understand it, but it was hard for me to do it, because it's like, oh my gosh, for like the last 5 years I'm trying not to do that.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I'm starting to really pay attention to the boundaries word and try to understand it more intimately. And I think that with this action, we can say, for the next 10 minutes, I want to intend on taking on somebody else's feeling and giving out good. But when I'm at work, I'm not wanting to do that. So I'm going to set a boundary that at work, I don't do this. Idea. Right? Or in another scenario, if it feels like somebody's wanting us to take on their feelings, we can set a boundary that says, I know you know me as an empathic person. but it's really starting to harm me in ways. And I can't take on everything plus what I've got. And this group is every one of us would take on anything for somebody, right? And so that boundary part is really important to say, if you're feeling like you need to do something like this, maybe tonight at 5:30, after I finish some things that I need to do, we can spend 10 minutes on it. Right. And so we create these defined spaces of what we feel like we can take on, rather than then we just naturally take on everybody's everything, which can really harm us.
Okay, thank you. That
Hi, Kirsten.
helps a lot.
Good.
Hi, Wendy, I am 100% with you, and I feel like I just take and take and take until I'm a nervous, twitchy frenzy. And how I have handled this is instead of trying to take on someone else's burden or their pain, I try to collectively lift everyone up, lift the vibrations, send them love. Even when I'm driving in my car, I'll do this little chant and I'll say, love, 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 love. And each time I'm raising my voice and I'm sending love, and I visualize sending hearts and love and, violet light. And that's healing for me to heal others. That's what I do.
Yeah. Do you make sure you include yourself as one of those people?
Well, it comes from me. So
Right.
I'm lifting myself up.
Yes.
As I'm lifting others up.
Yeah.
And I try also to, because we run across negative people that are constantly like, but me people. It's like you hear a story and they're constantly saying, okay, but what about me? Let me tell you about my bad day. And I've learned to just kind of listen, let them vent, and then just throw some love their way. But I can't take it on because it hurts me to try to take it from them and put it in me and store it in different places. Like truly, it does hurt me to try to heal that way.
Totally. Is it like the feeling of becoming a fixer for them because they don't want to do their own work?
Yeah, it's like a vampire.
Yeah.
It's there will always be more work to be done. And you can try and try and try and pull it out and love and take their burden and listen and be compassionate and empathetic. And there's always more.
Yeah.
So I started doing this a while ago because I'm like, if they can't want to heal, like they want to be in crisis, and I can send them love, and that is how I can heal them. And it makes me feel good because the love comes from me, but I'm not taking from them.
Yes.
That's the difference, I think, for me.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. So the exercise of giving them love specifically, the way that seems to work for me is to say, may I take in the darkness, may it filter everything, and may I give them lots of love. My door is open for a little receiving of it at the same time. Whoever's sending it back, I'm open to feeling it that way too. Doesn't mean that person I want it back and I'm doing an even exchange, nothing like that. But to allow ourselves, like, I know how giving you are, Kirsten, and I know that you must say love, 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 love 100 times a day, right?
yeah.
And within that, like, I'm offering a potential to say, stop, feel somebody else, feel mine, feel this group's, feel us driving down the street saying love, 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 coming to you as an offset. Right. Let's, as we open the door to give out generosity, that door is open to receive through also. And
Yeah.
so maybe we can just put a little bit of awareness also into that. And may I feel the love that others are giving.
Yeah. I also believe love is abundant. The more
Yeah.
you throw out, you're going to get it back too. In abundance. It's just going to grow and grow. And maybe someone can say negativity can be handled the same way, but I choose to focus on love and healing and light and laughter and things that, you know, raise our vibrations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Denise,
Yes.
can you hear me okay? I moved rooms.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is all amazing. I'm fascinated by it all. And
Mhm.
it's a lot to absorb.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I loved what Marie said in the beginning, that she's just letting people be. And so now when we did this exercise, I guess I'm a little bit confused, but it'll probably be, I'll get better and better at it. Are you sending love or are you also spreading the word of Tonglen? Because when I think of everybody who's negative and who has, is so self-absorbed, I want to spread this word to them. This is like immediate family,
Yeah. Right.
or is it more just take in and just spread love and don't try to fix them?
That's a great question, Stacy, because the more we study compassion, the more we study mind training, there's actual a step-by-step Mahayana mind training that's called the Lam Rim. And the more that we develop through this, the more we know what prescription somebody else needs really clearly. And we cannot ask them to come to it. We must exemplify it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start going, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So they say, people love it when I'm a Buddha. People hate it when I'm a Buddhist. Right? So check out this. And what I'm resonating with as you're saying this, Stacy, is that you're taking this class and feeling a benefit of it. And you are so generous that immediately you want to help others. Right? Immediately you're wanting to help others.
Well, and it probably would help.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It probably would help me too, because I get the negativity and then I do what everyone else is saying. Right.
And it perpetuates. And then you teach a class and I come take it, and Wendy teaches a class and we go take it, and we learn these different perspectives in the class. And wouldn't that be amazing if we were all doing that, right? And we could feel that from each other. And then somebody else saw a difference in us and went, what is that? And it's one saying that is very clear and constantly repeated in Buddhist classes is slowly, slowly. So we have to trust this process. And I have to tell you, I'm reading a couple books this week on AI, and slowly, slowly and AI don't go hand in hand. It's like slowly, slowly, but now, and program it into the machines and do something. That's a whole nother conversation. But to just trust in the power of it and the value of it. Now, I have read over 200 books on this, right? Like I never read anything, and now I just read every book I can get my hand on it. But I have to admit that it's a way to keep it cognitive rather than doing the practice. It's a way for me to load all these facts here so I can keep moving quickly and know. But reading doesn't allow me to do that exercise and to slow it down and to feel and to transform. And so when I actually get into meditation or repetitive meditation, you start having these, I learned, oh, there's something that you can experience there. And you're like, what is this? And when somebody says, oh, I had a realization, right? It sounds like, oh, what'd you do? Turn into God, right? But it's as simple as, oh, I just realized that if I put red and blue together, I get purple. Like, it's a simple realization, but we learned something that we didn't know before. And I had a friend tell me that, as we develop our minds or anything else, it's like building a brick wall. And we imagine that year one are these bricks, and then year two are these bricks. And sometimes we can miss a brick in a year, and we can still continue to build that wall. And then there's this brick here. And we build our wall, and we build our wall, and there's a hole over here and a hole over here. You know how bricks, like, they stack kind of like this instead of right on top of each other? And when we have an opportunity to re-experience what was missing in one of those layers, a brick goes into place. And that once a brick is in place and we realize that part of our development, it doesn't come out. It's really amazing. So we get into this experience. We did this exercise last week where we did this last time where we ask ourselves, what do we need? And I had bricks just go right into place when I did that. At one time I was like, what? And I didn't realize that having a concern for my needs that was nurturing actually fulfilled some of these bricks. So it's that part of studying this topic is the juiciest, most fruitful, transformative, life-changing, enlightening, realizational, whatever you want to call it, but really amazing part of it and scariest part of it, because we start to change. Inevitably, as we start to change, if we change enough, we realize that the people who were fostering the old Denise to continue on may not be who's going to be able to foster the new Denise to continue on.
Wow.
Right? And we start going, I need to make some changes. I'm learning not to hurt, and yet I need to help some people to not be as close to me as possible, right? So the practice of it all is amazing. The cognitive level, we have to invite to slow down so that we can feel, and then hang in there with the meditations. I'm going to bring us back to the Tonglen one with this. I'm going to invite you guys to just think, oh, and I want to follow up on a question from last time. I want to invite you guys, familiar to me, to say, may all ants that accidentally get stepped on be free from suffering. Right? Or may I take their pain so that they may be free from pain, right? So it's a little bit not so close to us. And then you can start bringing things in that are a little heavier and a little heavier and a little heavier as you imagine doing a Tonglen exercise. Tonglen can take 1 minute and it can take 20. And if you want to do a group of people and you really say it, and maybe you say it 25 times to that one group of people, you'll start to feel it deeper and deeper each time that you go through that whole filter exercise of darkness into light for that one group of people. And we begin to let ourselves feel how heavy it is, that one group of people that we already have compassion for. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? Last time we got yay, got over you too. Last time we got together, I invited There weren't too many of us in that class. I invited us to consider smiling and greeting somebody that we wouldn't normally smile and greet, or somebody that was not familiar to us, or not, like they just seemed different. Did any of us get to that or have anything they want to share on that, or do we want to carry that on towards the holidays and see if we can try that again? This was when somebody's walking by, like at Reef School, they have the saggers, and these kids walk along with their underpants hanging out and their hoodie on, and it'd be very easy for me to judge them and just stay away. And now I have them all coming up to me and asking for stickers and giggling, wanting their little heart sticker, right? And I just tried to stop the outside and just see into who they are, see the nature inside of them of love. Same thing happened with this girl that got in the fight today, and next thing you know, we're yelling "I love you" down the street, right? So I'm going to invite you guys to just see, we think we don't have any prejudices, we think we don't have judgments, and then we somehow in the grocery store just don't offer the same greeting, or you can go in front of me to one person that we would to another. My example last week was this guy that walks his dog with tattoos all over his head in my neighborhood. I was really scared of that guy for a while. Right? And then he's a super nice guy now. So, okay. If we would like to do any more reflecting or questions, this will be our last meeting until after Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to anybody who's celebrating Hanukkah right now. That was a interesting new one. I think I'm gonna well, we never know what the next subject is. I'll let you know when I do, but I think I'm gonna start back with some real basics, and then we'll build off of those basics together. So forgive me, please, if there's anything that I said tonight that confused you or was frustrating or felt funny or rubbed you wrong. That was not my intention, and I please ask your forgiveness for that. If there's anything that you feel like you said or did or experienced in this that you feel like you should be sorry for, you're totally forgiven, and let's just have a totally clean slate and just forget anything that's like that right now. And let's dedicate the merit that we receive by coming together with such an honest, beautiful, kind, loving intention out to all the beings that are suffering, any being that's suffering without exception. Let's offer merit to them, that they may feel love, that they may feel part of something, that they may feel that their emotions can be shared, all of their emotions, and that they're just like the rest of us. May they not suffer. May they feel love. May they feel abundance in this season of giving. And may all wars end immediately.
Gosh, yeah.
May wars with ourselves, wars with our spouses or family, wars with our neighbors, wars with other people in other countries, may all wars just stop immediately. Thank you very much for sharing this time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.